You are up,
It's just me.
and when you're done, we're done, so.
Well.
We're in good spirits. How's your call schedule been? Pretty good?
Pretty good.
Good.
We were, we had the, I think I put it in the email. I don't know what I put in the email, what I didn't to you guys, but that next morning after the commissioner meeting, we had 2 people come back off of medical leave at the same
Good.
time.
Well, that's a blessing.
So that just, yeah.
I left a message with your parents. I found one of their whips. They're guiding for show cattle
Oh,
on the
okay.
highway, and I'm waiting to hear back what they want us to do. I just using it to whip over my dog. It's kind of cool. not hit him, but it's got a big flag on it.
Probably in the back of the truck, huh, at one point.
Yep.
All right. Old business. Jen's resignation. I'm going to move this mic. There we go. Jen's resignation. Wendy White did accept the offer for 8 hours a week at $11.38. So that means she'll be salaried on Monday through Thursday. She'll be hourly on Fridays. And then she'll have her volunteer on-call pay and call pay outside of all of that.
Okay.
And she started last Friday. The emergency contingency plan that you guys put into effect last time, need a motion to discontinue the plan as staffing levels are adequate. We did review the plan in detail after we activated it, and we need to determine what our minimum staffing levels are. So when do we activate the plan? So this time it was easy because it was by the state minimum staffing levels. We went below 2 in the county. Do you guys want to keep it as such, or do you want to put any further restrictions on that at the county level? For instance, right now, and we've talked about this a bunch, with 2 techs in the county, they can be anywhere as long as we can get on the road in 5 minutes. Do you want to, the other 2 options I could think of is minimum staffing is 1 tech in St. Francis, 1 tech in Bird City, 2 techs in St. Francis, 2 techs in Bird City. It's kind of how you want to cover those 2 towns, basically. I will say this, if you think that our minimum staffing levels are 2 techs in Bird City and 2 techs in St. Francis, right now we're going to be getting into our emergency plan quite a bit, I would think.
Well, that's what I was thinking, but
Did we approve Wendy's, let's go back for a minute here.
Yes.
Did we approve that for
yes,
full-time?
No.
8 hours a week.
8 hours.
8 hours, okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because her other salary job,
Yeah.
her full-time job, that's all grant funded.
okay.
Reed, how much trouble would we get in if we went 1 tech in both when the state requirement's 2? I mean,
Okay, well, the state requirement is 2 for the county. County.
but in a
So
situation,
if you did 1 and 1,
right, you'd be essentially legal.
you still got your 2, so you're fine with the state. The issue's going to be your residents.
Okay.
Because now we can't transport the patient until that other tech gets over here from Bird City, or we get over to Bird City.
Can you run it efficiently, 1 tech in St. Francis and 1 tech in Bird City?
I don't. My personal opinion is that meets the bare minimum, and me as a taxpayer, I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
Well, as a
I mean, I really, my personal opinion is, and I don't know how to do it, I'll be honest with you, is you need 2 techs in St. Francis and you need 2 techs in Bird City.
I agree with that because you're talking when seconds matter, and if you never know if it's going to be a relative of you, me, or somebody else, and we need to take that into consideration. That seconds count.
Well, mine are northwest 14 miles from here,
Yeah.
so if they can't, say they go pick up Dad on the farm, for instance,
Yeah.
they can't leave the farm until that tech from Bird City
Yeah.
gets all the way up to the farm.
And that's my concern because
And I'll call Mom and say, put him in the car and take him to the hospital.
right.
And I don't, and I'm the EMS director, but that is my biggest concern. Now, is that truly our minimum staffing levels, or is that just a desire and a goal? I mean, and that's kind of what what we need to decide. I mean,
I'm leaning towards two techs, and I know it's going to make it difficult, but I think when you're dealing with lives, I think we need to make sure that we're as efficient as we can. If we're waiting on somebody else, lives are on our hands. I think we need to make the best decision we can, because
Well, I disagree. One, we didn't budget for 2 full-time positions. Where is the money going to come from?
well, these are
The benefits have to be addressed. The benefits would have to be increased.
the techs are not volunteers then.
hopefully they are, but I can tell you right now they wouldn't be. I mean, let's say you adopted C today, for instance. We would be back in our emergency contingency plan because I don't have 2 in each town. And what that does to kind of answer, your question about the money side of things is it puts you guys in a bad spot because now the contingency plan opens up your checkbook. Well, that's all unbudgeted expenses.
But it only opens it up when necessary.
Right. I mean, we could be opening it
I
up.
think we need to work on getting more trained technicians, and we already agreed to do that.
Right.
And we agreed to the funding of that. I cannot see adding 2 full-time positions under the current budget restraints.
And I do agree with Rodney on that. I was sitting there, I guess when I'm thinking techs, I'm thinking volunteers. But I'd like to see 2 and 2. I mean,
In 2 years, we've talked about this 2-year thing, because next year it's going to take me to get certified to be an instructor. Then I'll hold a class right away. It's going to be 2 years before hopefully we have our volunteer pool back up. And we're kind of making a 2-year plan, to be honest with you. Now, I will say, out of the blue, non-recruited, we have 2 people in the Sherman County class from Bird City. So, kind of dropped out of the sky. We were really encouraged by that, and I talked to one of them that was going to talk to the other for me and told them, we'll sponsor your expenses up to $500 like we agreed last time. But so, that would, depending on their availability when they get certified, would help Bird City out. But their requirement is only 20 hours a month.
right.
That's less than 2 full days a month to be on call. So hopefully they can do more. But we just have to determine what our minimum levels are. So if we go below that minimum, then we activate the plan.
I don't know what the answer is there. I mean, you're talking fiscal versus lives. What are your thoughts?
I don't have any answers either.
If we could have 2 volunteers at each location, I'd be happy.
We'd be doing it now,
I know.
because that's my goal. Just, running the department. I don't want to scream over here or over to Bird City from Saney if we don't have to, but I mean, that's what we're doing now. And it's not bad if it's in the cities, because that 15 minutes doesn't seem like that big a thing, but if you get out on the corners of the county, now you're talking more like a half hour, and that's a long time. But
Eating up a lot of the golden hour.
And I will say even this, that what we found out by activating our emergency plan, and this is the next bullet there, I'm very concerned that in the future, we can activate the plan, but if our regional partners can send staff or not, I'm finding out they weren't able to. Now that's a huge concern. I heard back from, I know the condition of Atwood. I heard back from Thomas County, they said, and Hoxie, Sheridan County, and both of them were like, it's football season, we're covering all these standbys. Well, we're covering our own, but that's about it. I don't know if we can send anybody extra. Which was really, like I said, it concerns me that even our emergency plan may not even cover it. But that's the last straw we have in our hat.
Thoughts?
Haven't got any thoughts on it.
I guess my suggestion would be, and this is just a suggestion, I'm one of three, but try to get, in the perfect world, try to get 2 techs, 2 volunteers at each location. That would be your goal. I would try to reach that goal very, very hard. This 1 and 1 is going to end up really getting us.
Or 2 and 0.
Yeah.
Or
2 and
0 and 2. Because it's
Right.
right now it's going both ways. You know, usually St. Francis was covering Bird City, and now Bird City's covering St. Francis too. So it goes both ways right now.
Well, I guess as a director of EMS, I think you need to, whatever you need to do to try to get 2 volunteers at each location. And I think you've been doing a good job, but that would be my suggestion, is try to shoot for 2. Legally, we have to have 1 and 1. As a parent, father, I don't want to see the numbers drop below 2 at each location. But I would say shoot for 2 if you can.
I mean, I guess, and what I would say back to that, that's what we've been doing.
Right, you've been shooting for 2.
3, 4, you know. I mean,
Right. But
the reality is we're to the spot where that with the staffing we have, I don't even, that's not realistic.
yeah, I mean,
And, you know, crazier things have happened. Like I said, there's 2 in a class that none of us knew about.
Right.
So that's a good problem, I guess, to have. And that can keep continuing. But if we look at our strategic plan, it's going to be 2 years before, I mean, we're going to be in this for 2 years.
right. Well, we have to have 1 and 1 for sure.
Because we don't even have that all the time right now. You can 2 and 0 or 0 and 2. And basically, that's when Wendy and Lauren go out of town on the weekend, which hardly ever happens. But when they go out on a weekend, usually that bird leaves Bird City with nothing.
We could delve on this situation all day long. I think shoot for 2. If we're 2 and 0, 1 and 1, we've got to have an emergency plan for time savings. I don't know what to say, but shoot for 2. But we have to stay legal at 1 tech at each location, or 2 and 0. What do
Okay.
you guys think?
I mean, if you gotta go to the emergency plan, you gotta.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's your work of getting all the volunteers you can get.
It's just, you know, we can't offer a class tomorrow. That's the problem.
Exactly.
We sent 1 instructor through that didn't pass. That's really hurting.
Costly.
So if you put a contingency plan into effect and nothing happens, then what?
Well,
Then the state comes in.
it cleans up
I
because
just was curious. more.
it's paid for by tax dollars.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I will say, and I put this clear down under new business, and this is just for your information, under staff pay. You know, since we came up with our restructuring plan back in March, I've had 2 people ask me about full-time. I've had 1 person ask me about part-time, and 1 person want to join us as a volunteer, but none of them will do it for 50 cents an hour. The 2 full-time were locals. The 1 part-time was Sherman County, and the 1 volunteer was a local. So, I mean, to say they're not out there, that would not be truthful for me to say that. I think we're in a place with EMS where we used to be a taxi service. Let's be honest. Now we're a mobile ER, and our business model hasn't changed to support that. With the mobile ER came all these additional regulations from the state, things like having 2 people on call all the time. That's relatively new. When I first became certified in '94, we didn't have that. You know, everybody got a pager. It was like the fire department is now. Everybody has a pager. When the pager goes off, you show up. But anyway, okay, we'll keep it at the state requirement for activating our emergency COOP plan, and we'll go on to new business. Paperwork, the first thing, transfer of property agreement is the first thing in your packet. I just need Deb and Brett to sign that. That's for the Gator that the Security Council bought, and we agreed to house it for them. The second thing in the packet is the education incentive grant. That's to allow those 2 from the Bird City area to get their tuition and fees paid for by the state.
I need to get mine.
And the third thing is a new policy, a new operational policy for the department for our education program that does address all the state regulations that we need to have in our training program that we currently don't. So,
Cheyenne County Dispatch to St. Francis EMS, stand by for information page. At this time, this is information only.
Here's the local. Here's the local.
oh, sorry, did I get ahead of you?
No, you're fine. They probably want to make a motion to approve that.
Do I hear a motion to sign is this the NCRPC? Is that correct?
I thought we already done that. You got stuff.
This is the transfer of property agreement from Homeland Security.
I have an email from July, and because Nicole's already blessed it in an email, but that was back in July, and I think I copied Deb on it, and I said put it in the commissioner's packet for signature, but they told me they don't have it. So you might be signing a second one, to be honest with you. Does that look familiar to you?
Since May?
July.
July?
I mean, you don't have to. I guess my thought is a couple signatures, and if we can find the original one, if there was, we'll send that.
Look in the
If not,
file.
we can send this one.
Okay.
But no, that was interesting you brought that up, because I think I saw it too. Okay, and then the education incentive grant one is the second one, and sign under operator.
That was for the Gator, right?
That was for the
I do
Gator.
believe that we've done that.
Okay, I think,
Okay, as far as the education incentive grant, I think we will need a motion on that one.
I make a motion that we accept the memorandum of agreement for the education incentive grant program as written.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
No, that we read
operator.
Operator.
operator right there.
Okay, and then the education.
Oh,
I do that too.
and that looks like a full.
And then this one, the education policy, I'll just let you guys approve that at the next meeting if you would. We can read through it. It's pretty boring. We talked about staff pay, and the only other two things I have is executive session. I don't know if we can call them back to back. It's for two different things.
We should probably
Come
out.
out.
and then go back
Okay.
in.
So let's do 5 minutes for financial matters of the third party.
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion that we go into executive session for 5 minutes for personnel, was it?
Financial matters.
Financial matters.
Second.